Say something.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we're going to probably finish up the solitary messengers, a paper on solitary messengers. But before we do that, let's say a quick prayer, and I got a correction to make. Father, thank you for this wonderful time together and allowing us to share this beautiful revelation. We thank you for our solitary messengers. We thank you that they brought this message to us, and we're able to share this with one another and experience it in this life. We thank you for all of our many opportunities to do this. And we thank you for our many blessings in each and every one of our lives. We say this in the name of your son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Last week, before we got off, we were talking about the mansion worlds, right? And I said something that was totally wrong. Okay. And I want to make a correction. I said that when you died, it took 3 periods to get to the mansion world.
Correct.
That is correct, right? But what I also said is it takes 18 days, and that is wrong, okay? And let me show you why I said 18 days. I get this confused all the time. On our very first page on our website, see, there's a link. It says time study down here. See that?
Okay.
That's this study here. And this is why I put this time study together, notes on time, because I got the 18 days messed up once before. So that's when I put this little chart together. Okay. And you'll notice down here, it says local universe standard day. You see that right on the bottom? 18 days, 6 hours of Urantia time plus 2.5 minutes. You see that?
Yes. Strange.
That's where I got that from. It is not the same on the mansion worlds. Okay. And I already knew that, but that's where I got the 18 days from. You'll notice that, let's see, right here, the day in Satania, the mansion worlds are on Satania time, not the local universe time. Okay, so the Satania day as reckoned on Jerusalem, okay, which is the capital, right, of the mansion worlds, is less than 1 hour, 40 minutes, 15 seconds than 3 days of Urantia time. You see that?
Strange.
And these are generally known as Salvington or universe time, and Satania or system time. That's the difference. So the mansion world time is what? System time, our local system. Salvington time is the whole local universe. You follow me? So when they say it takes 3 periods to get to the mansion world, remember we had this big discussion about Jesus rising on the 3rd day and all that? Remember that from last week? Mm-hmm. Well, 3 periods in Satania is what? 9 days. That's what I needed to correct, okay? Because it's equivalent to 3 times 3 days of Urantia time. You follow me? 3 times 3 is 9.
The day in Satania is reckoned in less than 140.
Okay, so it takes 3 Urantia days to make 1 day in Satania, okay? Or 1 day in the mansion worlds. You follow me? So if it takes you 3 periods to get to the mansion world, how many would that be? 3 times 3 is 9, right?
So it's saying 3 days of our time is equal to 1 hour and 4 minutes.
Less
up there?
than 1 day of their time. That's right.
No, it says 1 hour.
No.
1 hour, 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Yeah, a day in Satania is reckoned on Jerusalem less than 1 hour, 4 minutes, 15 seconds than 3 days of Urantia time.
Okay, I follow.
Just under 3 days of Urantia time.
Right, I follow.
You follow me? So if you take 3 times a period, 3 times 3 is what? 9. Right? And I wanted to correct that because I flat out said it was 18 days thinking of Jerusalem time. I mean, thinking of Salvington time instead of Jerusalem time. Right.
But would that still allow for them preparing the body? And
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all these bodies are already ready. I mean, way before we die. And they know the hour, the moment, the time, and everything that we're going to die ahead of time, right? Soon as we die, it registers with whom? The universal census, right? The moment you're born and the moment you die is registered with the universal census. And when that happens, they know you're coming, right? So you hop on, you know, the guardian angel comes and picks you up, whisks you off to the first mansion world if you're on the third psychic circle, right? If not, you sleep into a resurrection, a group resurrection. Now, do you know any difference in time, whichever one happens?
no.
No. If you wake up in 1,000 years, it's just as if you died a moment before that, right?
And how do we know we're even on the third psychic circle?
Well, I think I would probably consider most people that are reading the Urantia book have reached the third psychic circle because of why? You're on a search for God the Father, right? And that's part of being on the third psychic circle, right? You realize that this world is temporary and your new world is to come, right? So you've already prepared to go on to the mansion world. And the people that have not done that are not prepared. So they get awakened in a group resurrection because they have to train them from scratch from the very beginning, and they do it in large classes, right? They're in remedial classes, right? If you want to find out more about that, you can go to paper 112, and paper 112 is on personality. Okay, so if you want to find out more about all of that, read all of paper 112 or listen to our video on paper 112, either one. It explains all that, right? We'll eventually get to it again one of these days, maybe. I think. Okay, so I've made my correction. It's not 18 days, it's 9 days, and that's because there's 3 days equal. It takes 3 days during each time to make one local mansion world time, right? And we ended on last time on talking about the tremendous speed of 841,621,642,000 miles per second of speed for a solitary messenger. Remember that? All right. We read the next paragraph, but I want to start with that paragraph again. Come on. So, Diane, would you take that paragraph?
Solitary messengers are, therefore, generally used for dispatch and service. Oh, you don't want me to read that one? I thought you said you wanted to start over. It is wholly beyond my ability to explain to the material type of mind how a spirit can be a real person and at the same time traverse space at such tremendous velocities. But these very solitary messengers actually come to and go from Urantia at these incomprehensible speeds. Indeed, the whole economy of universal administration would be largely deprived of its personal element were this not a fact.
So it's because of these tremendous speeds that the solitary messenger can go, it helps the whole universe, doesn't it? Okay, that's why they're so important to us. And if it wasn't for these huge speeds, instead of it taking 1,000,000 years for a solitary messenger to take a message from Uversa, from the Ancients of Days to the Seven Rings, it would take much, much, much longer, right? So it took the angel that brought this paper to us, it took him 1,000,000 years to take a message from Uversa to where? What's the reference? My mind is
Havana?
gone.
And
Havana, yes, thank you. So,
Been a busy day.
yeah, it's been a long day. If it wasn't for that, then think of how much time it would have taken him to come out here to help with this revelation, right? So if it took him that long to go from Uversa to there, think how long it took him to go from Uversa to here to help reveal this book. So what does that tell you? That means the Ancients of Days and Michael both had planned this revelation, what? Millions of years before it came, right?
You know something? I just figured out what they do when they're coming all that time.
What?
They write the book.
They write have lots of time to do it, right? Well, remember, there's about 12 other beings that come with them, and then there's, of course, 12 midwayers on the planet waiting on them to do it, right? So
Roger,
24 beings involved. Yeah.
Obviously, solitary messengers don't have any problem at all traversing from the 7 super universes
right
to Havana,
right
through the Quanzite zone,
yeah mm-hmm.
and straight to Havana.
Straight to Havana. So it just,
That's
you
strange,
have to keep in mind how far that is, though, Rodney. We get these pictures that we look at, and we see Havana and paradise in the center. We forget that paradise is larger than all the mass of all 7 super universes plus the outer space levels, right? So paradise itself is larger than that itself, right? That's a huge amount of space. So you can imagine, to keep the gravity balanced, the amount of space between Havana and the 7 super universes must be a gap that's just inconceivable to us in space, right? If it takes a solitary messenger who travels at 841 billion miles an hour to get there in a million years, that means there's a lot of space he has to go through, right?
Roger, is 841 billion miles per second.
Per second, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
You know what that means? And it explains a lot.
Let me call you back. I'm in a meeting, okay? Sorry.
It explains a lot. It means paradise is in the center of the universe. It's ever expanding because we're always getting more people into it. So they need more land or more space.
Right. More
okay.
Space.
Our universe on its whole is expanding ever outward. So that explains the whole situation and the whole design, because the circle is the only one you can expand ad infinitum and not worry about right angles, I'd say.
Well, that's why I've always said, I don't know if anybody remembers, but back in 2013, when I did the Origins of the Universe classes, I said one day that, we were talking about the 4 outer space levels. And I said, it's my opinion that there will be 7 outer space levels eventually, because God is always expanding, right? So why would he stop? He does everything in 7s. So why would he stop at 4, right? So it would make sense that there would probably in some time in the future be 7 outer space levels. So it just never stops, right?
And Gary's comment brought a question up.
Yeah.
I know the 7 super universes and out are expanding. However, I thought the central universe is not expanding.
It's not. The central one is not. That's stationary.
Everything else is.
Paradise is stationary. Havana goes around paradise. Paradise never moves, doesn't rotate, doesn't do anything.
But Havana's not expanding either.
It's not expanding either. It's a fixed number of 1 billion planets that are transcendental. And we forget that they're transcendental. They're not finite planets. So being that they're transcendental, they transcend what? Time and space.
Time and space.
So you really can't say that Havana even though it does take up space, you can't say it occupies space, right? Because it's a transcendental place, which means what? That it's on a totally different dimension than the finite universes. You follow me? We all still together? I didn't lose anybody? Okay.
Just hard to conceive.
It's hard to conceive of. That's right. Okay. That's why they say in this paragraph that it's beyond human comprehension to travel at these speeds, because we don't have any reference point of this, right? Okay. Faster than any race car we ever came up with, I can tell you that. All right, the next one. Jane, would you take the next one? Solitary messengers are able to function.
The solitary messengers are able to function as emergency lines of communication throughout remote space regions, realms not embraced within the established circuits of the grand universe. It develops that one messenger, when so functioning, can transmit a message or send an impulse through space to a fellow messenger about 100 light years away, as Urantia astronomers estimate stellar distances.
Now, why would this be necessary? Because not all places, this is hard to understand and hard to explain too, but not all places that the solitary messenger goes are necessarily embraced within the established circuits of the grand universe. What are they saying? In other words, some of the circuits they travel on end out there and they have to keep traveling. You follow me? So let's say that the circuits of the infinite spirit, when they go out to the outer space levels, it only goes out to a certain point, and they may be assigned as explorers out there. So they may have to get off the circuits to travel out there and then come back to get to the circuit to get back in. You follow
Roger?
me? Yeah.
I thought that they got their energy from the circuit.
They do, but they're smart enough to know their limits, as they say, as Clint Eastwood would say. A man's got to know his limitations, right?
Correct.
They know their limitations. In other words, they know how long they can be away from unencircuited, because we know that they become unencircuited when they get too close to one another, right? So they know how long they can be away from the circuit before they have to get back to it. You follow me?
It's interesting.
All right. Okay.
True astronauts.
Yeah, true astronauts. Yeah. And they can send messages to one another 100 light years away. Okay, so if they get out someplace and they need assistance from another messenger, they can send a message, right? 100 light years away. Okay, let's go on. Rodney, would you take the next one?
Yes. Of the myriads of beings who cooperate with us in the conduct of the affairs of the super universe, none are more important in practical helpfulness and time-saving assistance. In the universes of space, we must reckon with the handicaps of time. Hence, the great service of the solitary messengers, who, by means of their personal prerogatives of communication, are somewhat independent of space, and by virtue of their tremendous transit velocities, are so nearly independent of time.
So because they can communicate such large distances, they're almost independent of space, and because they move so fast, they're almost independent of time, because we know they move faster than the speed of light, right? Multiple times. So they're almost independent of time also. Okay. Gary, would you take the next one?
I am at a loss to explain to Urantia mortals how the solitary messengers can be without form and yet possess real and definite personalities. Although they are without that form, which would naturally be associated with personality, they do possess a spirit presence, which is discernible by all higher types of spirit beings. The solitary messengers are the only class of beings who seem to be possessed of well nigh all the advantages of a formless spirit, coupled with all the prerogatives of a full-fledged personality. They are truly persons, yet endowed with nearly all of the attributes of interpersonal spirit manifestations. So they are the current ghosts.
Yeah, you could call them a ghost because you can't see their body. Right. Now, you can also understand that when we become full-fledged spirits, why we can see them, right? Does this make this a little bit clearer? Because we will be on a higher presence ourselves, so we can see them, their forms or their essence, better as spirits than we can human beings, right? Human beings, we can't see them at all. We can't even sense them, right? But as spirit beings, we'll be able to not only sense them and see them, but we'll be able to intercommunicate with them, right? Okay. Linda, would you take the next one?
In the 7 super universes, ordinarily, but not always, everything which tends to increase any creature's liberation from the handicaps of time and space proportionately diminishes personality prerogatives. Solitary messengers are an exception to this general law. They are, in their activities, all but unrestricted in the utilization of any and all of the limitless avenues of spiritual expression, divine service, personal ministry, and cosmic communication. If you could view these extraordinary beings in the light of my experience in universe administration, you would comprehend how difficult it would be to coordinate super universe affairs were it not for their versatile cooperation.
You think this might be why they were created first of all the beings by the infinite spirit? You know, they're almost, we could almost not do without them at all. You know, we couldn't function. All right. Let's see, Diane, would you go take the next one, please?
No matter how much the universe may enlarge, no more solitary messengers will probably ever be created. As the universes grow, the expanded work of administration must be increasingly borne by other types of spirit ministers and by those beings who take origin in these new creations, such as the creatures of the sovereign sons and the local universe mother spirits.
So in essence, what they're telling us, in the future, as we grow and become more and more spiritual, we'll have to take up some of the slack of the work that the solitary messengers do, right? All right, and here's a picture of the personal aids of the infinite spirit. And we're going to talk about them in the next one, I believe it is. Okay, the special ministry of the solitary messengers. Jane, would you take that one, please?
The solitary messengers seem to be personality coordinators for all types of spirit beings. Their ministry helps to make all the personalities of the far-flung spiritual world akin. They contribute much to the development in all spirit beings of a consciousness of group identity. Every type of spirit being is served by the special groups of solitary messengers who foster the ability of such beings to understand and fraternize with all other types and orders, however dissimilar.
Okay, did y'all catch that? So they are the beings that's going to help us understand and work in groups with lots of types of beings that we're not only not familiar with, that we probably don't even understand, right? So it'll be the solitary messengers that helps us work in groups with this being and helps us to understand these people and these beings, right? which will come in real handy on the mansion worlds, I suspect, right? Okay, and in Uversa,
Mention more.
I'm not doing well tonight. Been a rough day, y'all. I was up all night last night. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Rodney, would you take the next one?
Sure. The solitary messengers demonstrate such an amazing ability to coordinate all types and orders of finite personality, even to make contact with the absentite regime of the Master Universe over-controllers, that some of us postulate that the creation of these messengers by the Infinite Spirit is in some manner related to the conjoint actor's bestowal of supreme ultimate mind.
So we know that the absentite beings are part of not only the central universe, right? But we also know that they're part of the outer space levels, right? So that's how they're related to the conjoint actor's bestowal of the supreme ultimate mind, because if you remember, the supreme ultimate mind has to do with what? The outer space levels, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's how that connection comes together right there. All right. Let's see, Gary, would you take the next one, please?
When a finaliter and a paradise citizen cooperate in the trinitization of a child of time and eternity, a transaction involving the unrevealed mind potentials of the supreme ultimate. And when such an unclassified personality is dispatched to Vicegerrington, a solitary messenger, a conjecture personality, repercussion of the bestowal of such deity mind is always assigned as guardian companion to such a creature trinitized son. These messengers accompanies the new son of destiny to the world of his assignment and nevermore leaves Vicegerrington. When thus attached to the destinies of a child of time and eternity, a solitary messenger is forever transferred to the sole supervision of the architects of the master universe. What the future of such an extraordinary association may be, we do not know. For ages, these partnerships of unique personalities have continued to foregather on Vicegerrington, but not even a single pair has ever gone forth therefrom.
Okay, so in Havona, when a paradise citizen or one of the beings from Havona trinitizes with whom?
Finaliter.
A finaliter, mortal finaliter, right? When that happens, the trinitization process creates a being, right? This being has the mind potentials of the supreme and ultimate. Why is that? Because you have a combination of a paradiser or a Havoner, okay, which is what? Which is on the verge. It's the potentials of the supreme and ultimate. I can't keep my mind together here tonight. Because that being is created ready for what? The outer space levels, right? Not because they're experiential, because of why?
And trinitized.
They're trinitized, right? And they're transcendental. That's the big thing. right? Since they're transcendental, they have the mind potentials of the supreme and ultimate. They're not finite anymore. Even though the finite part of them helped add to them, they crossed over to the transcendental, so they become the property of the supreme ultimate. They get assigned a solitary messenger, and then they're under the purvey of the architects of the master universe. Because why? Because the architects of the master universe are the ones that take care of the outer space levels, right? So when they get ready to assign them to things outside Vice Jerrington, they will be going to where? The outer space level.
Roger, are you saying not only the new trinitized being, but also a solitary messenger?
Also the solitary messenger.
Both go to Vice Jerrington.
Both go to Vice Jerrington, and they never leave.
Strange.
Okay. These are not like the trinitized sons that from finalitors that come back to the universe and serve the Ancients of Days and that sort of thing, right? That's a different group, right? These are trinitized beings from pairing of a paradise citizen and a finalitor, or a Havoner and a finalitor. Okay, so they immediately go to Vice Jerrington and they stay there. They don't ever leave. They get paired up with the solitary messenger. Now, the next paragraph tells us about something just regarding those solitary messengers who get assigned to these beings. Okay, and this is real important. So let's take the next one. All right. I think Rodney, you're up.
I just read.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gary, you're up then.
Okay, where we're at? Solitary
messenger are stationary, right?
I just read that.
Yeah, he read right before me.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay, but I'll do it.
He read right before me.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's Linda's turn then. Solitary messengers are the stationary numbers, Linda. Linda, you out there? You're muted. Yeah.
I know. I was trying to get it.
All right.
Okay, where?
Solitary messenger stationary numbers.
Solitary messengers are stationary numbers, but the trinitization of the sons of destiny is apparently an unlimited technique. Since each trinitized son of destiny has assigned to him a solitary messenger, it appears to us that at some time in the remote future, the supply of messengers will become exhausted. Who will take up their work in the grand universe? Will their service be assumed by some new development among the inspired Trinity spirits in the grand universe at some remote period, going to be more nearly administered by Trinity origin beings, while the single and dual origin creatures move on into the realms of outer space? If the messengers return to their former service, will these sons of destiny accompany them? Will the trinitizations between finalitors and paradise Havoners cease when the supply of solitary messengers has been absorbed as guardian companions of these sons of destiny? All of our efficient solitary messengers, are all of our efficient solitary messengers going to be concentrated on Vice Jerrington? Are these extraordinary spirit personalities going to be eternally associated with these trinitized sons of unrevealed destiny? What significance we attach to the fact that these couples foregathering on Vice Jerrington are in the exclusive direction of those mighty mystery beings, the architects of the universe? These and many similar questions we ask ourselves and ask other orders of celestial beings, but we do not know the answers.
That whole paragraph is a big question, right?
We don't need to know it then, right, Roger?
Yeah, we don't need to know it. But the point is, the solitary messengers eventually are going to be exhausted in numbers because of this trinitization process of us and paradisers, or us and Havoners. Make sense?
Yeah.
So when that happens, all bets are off. Nobody really knows what's going to happen at that point, right? They're projecting.
That's way off in the future.
Way off into the future. That's right. But they do mention all these questions that are unanswered, right? They don't know the answer to, so they can't tell them to us, right? So it's one of the mysteries of the universe, as they say, right? Okay. We're almost at the end of this paper. Y'all believe that? Okay. Diane, would you take the next one, please?
This transaction, together with many similar occurrences in universe administration, unmistakably indicates that the personnel of the grand universe, even that of Avona and Paradise, is undergoing a definite and certain reorganization and coordination with, and with reference to, the vast energy evolutions now taking place throughout the realms of outer space.
Okay, so the only thing they know for sure is everything is being shaken up, right? And they shake the whole universe up, and however it works out is going to work out, but they don't know for sure either, right? They try to teach us as much as they can.
Kind of like throwing dice.
Kind of like throwing dice, right? All right. Jane, would you take the next one, please?
We incline to the belief that the eternal future will witness phenomena of universe evolution, which will far transcend all that the eternal past has experienced. And we anticipate such tremendous adventures, even as you should, with keen relish and ever heightened expectation, presented by a divine counselor from Uversa.
Okay, so think of it this way. We've gone through this tremendous evolution on this planet, have we not? Right? Since we began. And that's just a small taste that the universe is going to evolve in over the next millions of years, to the point that it is going to transcend everything in the past that's been experienced. And what actually is going to happen, nobody really knows, even these celestial beings, right? So if you look at it this way, that's why they say you should, with keen relish and ever heightening expectation, right? So what's to come is almost beyond imagination.
Tremendous adventures.
What adventure, right? Think about it that way, right?
Roger, I think that last sentence is the reason why they give all this information.
Yeah.
Because they don't fully have all the answers, and our brain doesn't even resemble a tiny part of theirs. No. So, but for that last sentence, that sentence tells us why.
Yeah, it does. It's an adventure, right?
Yeah.
They want to prepare us for the adventure, and they want to prepare us for what they know, so that as we grow and we go to paradise, on our way to paradise, we can just expand our consciousness over and over and over and over. We never stop learning.
They want us to keep the enthusiasm.
That's right. Keep the enthusiasm going, right? That's what it's all about. Okay, next time we're going to go to higher personalities of the infinite spirit. And that includes some of the angels and things like that. Any questions about the solitary messengers or any of the spirits and that sort of thing at this point? Y'all ready to move on to the next one? Yeah. Yeah. Everybody good? I didn't get everybody too lost in this, did I?
No, it was enjoyable.
Okay, good. All right. Well, we will say a little prayer and we'll close on that tonight. This has been a short meeting then. Only 45 minutes, so we did pretty good, I'd say, right? All right, any other questions before we close tonight about anything? No? Okay. Let's close with a little prayer and we'll quit for tonight. Gary, would you like to close us tonight?
No, I really wouldn't.
You wouldn't? Okay. All right.
I'm not a good prayer.
That's all right. That's all right. Diane, why don't you close us in prayer?
Oh, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this evening, for the inspiration that this wonderful, wonderful wonderful message that was conveyed to us. We are starting at a very low level and feel that we can, actually have a wonderful journey throughout all eternity, growing and learning and sharing and worshiping God in all aspects of his being, her being. And we are just so incredibly grateful for this wonderful revelation, that it has encouraged us to continue our life here on this planet and to evolve into other areas of expectation promised to us through your wonderful revelation. We just thank you so very, very much for this, and help us to be kind, help us to be considerate, help us to be receptive to all the truths and all the knowledge that we learn as we evolve on this planet. Help us to be peaceful and to add goodness and mercy to our experience here on this earth while we're here. And we thank you that we will be leaving in our own time, in your time that you've predestined us to go to. And it is in your name, Jesus Christ, Michael, that we give thanks and are grateful. Amen.
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 And thank you at home for joining us. Be sure to come see us again.
Thank you.
Look for our
Until
videos
next time.
online. Yep. Good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Had a great
Roger,
time.
did the storm keep you up?
No.